This is Rwanda today. Beautiful, peaceful, rebuilt. But 30 years ago, these hills witnessed one of the fastest genocides in human history. In just 100 days, approximately 800,000 people were murdered. Neighbors killed neighbors, friends killed friends, in churches, in schools, in the streets. How does a nation tear itself apart in 100 days? The answer begins long before 1994. Before Europeans arrived, Rwanda was a unified kingdom. Tutsi and Hutu were not ethnic groups. They were social classes. Tutsis generally owned cattle, Hutus generally farmed, but they spoke the same language, shared the same culture, and often intermarried. You could move between groups.
Stature recorded.
Then Belgium took control in 1916, and the Belgians needed to organize the population. So they decided Tutsi and Hutu weren't social classes. They were races. They measured skulls, counted cattle, and in 1933, they issued identity cards, Hutu, Tutsi. Your identity was now permanent. The Belgians gave Tutsis better education, better jobs, more power. Hutus were systematically excluded. Resentment built for decades. 1959, Hutus revolted. Thousands of Tutsis were killed. Thousands more fled to Uganda. Rwanda gained independence in 1962. But now, Hutus controlled the government, and they remembered the decades of oppression. For 30 years, violence went in cycles. Tutsi refugees attacked from Uganda. The Hutu government retaliated against Tutsis inside Rwanda. In the 1990s, Rwanda was a powder keg, overpopulated, economically desperate. Coffee prices, their main export, had collapsed. President Juvenal Habyarimana had ruled for 20 years. His Hutu-dominated government was corrupt, authoritarian, and increasingly desperate to hold on to power. In October 1990, Tutsi refugees in Uganda, organized as the Rwandan Patriotic Front, the RPF, invaded northern Rwanda. Civil war erupted. For 3 years, the RPF fought Habyarimana's government. Thousands died. A peace agreement was signed in 1993. But the peace was fragile. Hutu extremists saw power sharing with Tutsis as betrayal. And then came the hate radio, RTLM, Radio Television Libre des Mille Collines. 24 hours a day, RTLM broadcast propaganda. Tutsis were cockroaches, snakes, the enemy within.
Our enemies, the cockroaches, are among us.
People listened in homes, in bars, at roadblocks. The message was clear. Tutsis are planning to kill you. Kill them first. The two extremists organized youth militias, the Interamwe, those who attacked together. They trained, they armed, they waited.
Keep the line straight. Make sure
Government imported hundreds of thousands of machetes from China, more than one for every 3 men. This wasn't random violence being prepared. This was systematic. Lists were made. Tutsi families, their addresses, their children's schools, everything documented. The international community knew. UN peacekeepers warned their superiors. Intelligence agencies reported the preparations, but no one acted. Romeo Dallaire, the Canadian general commanding UN peacekeepers, sent urgent cables. Genocide is being planned. He requested permission to raid weapons caches. The UN denied his request. The weapons stayed hidden. The militias stayed ready. And the world looked away. April 6, 1994. President Habyarimana's plane was returning to Kigali after more peace talks. As the plane approached the airport, surface-to-air missiles struck. The president died. So did Burundi's president, who was traveling with him. Within an hour, Roadblocks went up across Kigali. The militias deployed. The killing began, and it wouldn't stop for 100 days. April 7th, morning. Kigali woke to a different city. Every intersection had a roadblock. Every roadblock had militias checking identity cards. If your card said Tutsi, you died.
You are Tutsi.
Right there.
Step
at the
over there.
roadblock. In front of your children. RTLN became a genocide coordination center, broadcasting addresses, directing militias. The graves are only half full. Do your work. Tutsi homes were marked. Lists were distributed door to door. This wasn't spontaneous rage. This was organized extermination. Tutsis fled to churches. Rwanda is deeply Catholic. Churches were supposed to be sanctuaries. Thousands gathered, praying for protection. Militias came anyway. Some priests helped victims. Some priests helped killers. In churches across Rwanda, thousands were murdered. Schools, hospitals, government offices. Anywhere Tutsis gathered became a killing site. Neighbors killed neighbors. People who'd shared meals together, whose children had played together. Decades of friendship meant nothing. The speed was unprecedented. Approximately 8,000 people were murdered every single day. Faster than the Nazi gas chambers. Faster than any genocide in human history. The weapon of choice was the machete. Cheap, available, personal. This wasn't industrial killing. This was intimate horror. Women and children were specifically targeted. Pregnant women were killed. The goal wasn't just murder. It was the elimination of all future Tutsis. Rape was systematic, used as a weapon. Tens of thousands of women. Many were infected with HIV deliberately. Those who survived carried unspeakable trauma. Some fought back, barricaded buildings, formed defensive groups. But against militias, government troops, and genocidal neighbors, resistance was nearly impossible. This wasn't just Hutus killing Tutsis. Moderate Hutus who refused to participate were killed too. Anyone who showed mercy became a target. The first high-profile victim was Prime Minister Agathie Uwilingiyimana, a moderate Hutu, killed April 7th, day 1, along with the 10 Belgian peacekeepers protecting her. The killing of those peacekeepers was strategic. Belgium immediately withdrew all its troops. The UN's strongest force, gone. As the killing accelerated, the UN didn't send reinforcements. They withdrew. From 2,500 peacekeepers down to just 270. General Dallaire stayed, with a skeleton crew saved thousands, but couldn't save everyone. And he never forgave himself for that.
We are getting conflicting reports from Kigali today. The situation remains incredibly fluid.
The Foreign Office is urging all remaining nationals to...
The international media covered it, but they didn't call it genocide. Tribal violence, civil war, ancient ethnic hatreds.
We are certainly troubled by the events unfolding.
The U.S. State Department wouldn't use the word genocide, because under international law, using that word would require intervention. President Clinton later admitted Rwanda was his greatest failure. But in 1994, fresh from Somalia, America wanted no part of African conflicts. France had armed and trained Habyarimana's forces. Even during the genocide, French support continued. Their role remains controversial.
The violence in Rwanda
African nations, themselves often unstable, lacked resources to intervene. The continent watched in horror as one of its own tore itself apart. Aid workers stayed. Red Cross, Doctors Without Borders, journalists. They documented. They saved who they could. Some were killed for trying. Journalists like Mark Doyle of the BBC stayed. Their reports brought the truth to the world, even when the world chose not to act. Carl Wilkins was the only American who stayed the entire 100 days, a missionary. He saved lives by refusing to look away. Paul Rusesabagina sheltered 1,268 people in the Hotel de Mille Collines, using connections, bribes, and desperate negotiations to keep them alive. 1 month in, the killing continued. No international force came, no rescue, just genocide broadcast on television, ignored. But from the north, the RPF advanced. The same Tutsi rebels who'd been fighting for years. Now they were racing to stop a genocide. As the RPF advanced, they found the evidence. Churches full of bodies, rivers clogged with corpses, a nation being exterminated. June, 50 days, 500,000 dead. The world had debated for weeks whether to call it genocide. While they debated, people died. Finally, in late June, France launched Operation Turquoise, a safe zone in southwest Rwanda. Critics said it protected genocidaires fleeing the RPF.
Push forward.
July 4th, the RPF captured Kigali. The government fled. The militias scattered. After 100 days, the genocide was ending. 2 million Hutus fled to Zaire. Some were genocidaires. Most were ordinary people, terrified of RPF revenge. July 19th, the RPF declared victory. The genocide was over. 100 days, 800,000 to 1 million dead. Rwanda was empty, silent. A quarter of the population dead, another quarter in exile. Infrastructure destroyed. Economy collapsed.
I lost my entire family, my parents, my siblings, everyone I loved. I don't know why I survived. Sometimes I wish I hadn't.
Come and get your
Thousands of children were orphaned. Some had killed. Some had watched their parents die. An entire generation traumatized. Tens of thousands of women were HIV positive from rape. Many didn't know for years. The genocide's biological weapon continues killing today. Mass graves were found across the country. Forensic teams worked to identify victims. Many remain nameless. A world that failed to stop the genocide now promised justice. But how do you deliver justice for 800,000 murders?